All right, Allison Fedirka, who's an analysis director at the Geopolitical Futures, joins us as the top voice this week on the broadcast. Allison, good to have you on the show. Let me start by asking you the one statement that the German Chancellor said, that this is Israel doing the West's dirty job right now. Is this indicative of the fact that there is complete unity amongst America and EU allies in terms of how they view this fight and how they are likely to join ahead going forward?
So I think you're right. It is a very candid statement that you don't normally see in leadership speaking out publicly. I think it is a statement that reflects a shared interest in a non-nuclear Iran. I don't think that it says anything further in terms of unity for military action taken by all parties in Europe or the US. They historically do not necessarily go hand in hand, and the impetus needed for each country to react is very different. But they do have that shared interest of not seeing a nuclear Iran, and they all have the shared benefit of the Israeli strikes taking out a lot of the nuclear sites that are located within Iran.
Mm-hmm. How long do you see before a clearer direction is taken? Trump may have said 14 days, but it looks unlikely that a decision could be held till 14 days?
As you guys already said, a lot can happen in 14 days. And so I think rather than thinking about conflict in terms of timelines, because those are very unpredictable, and often don't really allow for the back and forth that's going to happen, is to think more of red lines, more of what actions are going to compel the other side to take greater action. So any moves by Iran that target U.S. military targets or kill U.S. personnel, civilian or military, would push the U.S. closer to taking action. Any moves by the U.S. to try to take out that Fordo nuclear site that remains in Iran may also provoke Iran to, say, target Iraqi oil sites or other places in the region that would be problematic for the West in terms of oil markets. So there's a lot of room for each side to continue acting and to continue escalating in the conflict. The question is, what is going to push them further? And right now, each party has been fairly careful about trying to keep this conflict between Israel and Iran for the moment, because nobody else wants to see this escalation spread beyond that.
But it doesn't look like either side is backing down, or nobody's exercising restraint, nobody's even advising caution right now.
Yes. So that is very true. Again, the U.S. involvement would be a game changer. If Iran is able to mobilize any of its proxy groups, which have been significantly weakened. The other factor that we need to look at, too, is just the domestic politics in both of these countries. There's a distinct possibility that internal problems in both of these countries could actually be the force that draws back military escalation in terms of popular support working against the government and providing a force. So the Iranian leadership has been divided prior to this conflict, and there is a real risk that as the conflict continues, it continues to weaken and lose power to the point that they have no choice but to negotiate or capitulate because they are not strong enough internally to continue fighting. The Israeli government is now rallying around the flag, but again, after the October 7th attacks last year, had huge internal fighting and problems, and we are now seeing that the public sentiment in Israel, while they supported the initial strikes, are starting to pull back because they don't want to see a protracted conflict where Israel itself is again the target. And that loss of popular support could also impact the Israelis' ability to continue their campaign as well.
Allison, finally, what shot does diplomacy have right now, given the fact that today is when some of those talks are taking place regarding Iranian nuclear program?
I think diplomacy has a possibility of pausing the conflict for a short period of time right now. Ultimately, the issues at hand have been long-standing. The Iran nuclear program is nothing new. Conflict between Iran and Israel is nothing new. And so if we see any success by diplomacy, it's going to be for a pause in the actual conflict right now. I don't think diplomacy is going to be able to resolve the conflict at this point in time. And you're going to have to see either a major military movement
Yes.
or major political shifts in these countries.
All right, Allison Fedirka, thanks so much for joining us live from Washington, D.C. on the story that the world is watching for.